your dreams.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to a weird Genshin video, and today I'm just going to be discussing the evidence pointing that HoYoverse hates hot women. That's it. That's the video. If you like the video, just leave a like and subscribe. So this statement I made, I'm not talking about HoYoverse as a whole, right? Because HoYoverse is more than just one person, obviously, right? It has like a billion people working for it. But what I mean about this statement is I think there is somebody in the writing team of HoYoverse that really hates hot women. The reason why I think this is because in both Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, the major deaths in both of these games happen to be hot women. Every single major death in these games has been a hot woman. There have been some male deaths, but they don't count because they're basically just NPCs. Nobody gave a shit about Tepe. Nobody gave a shit about that Fontaine NPC. Every male that has died in these games has been a male NPC, right? They just, you know, there hasn't been a major unique male character that died. Now, between Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact, there has been 4 major females that have died between both of these games. And out of the 4, only 2 of them turned out to be playable. The first major death in these HoYo games was Genshin Impact, was Signora. I feel like Signora's death was kind of rushed and too sudden. I feel like HoYoverse didn't really know what to do with Signora, so I guess they kind of just killed her off. Out of the 11 Harbingers, Signora seemed to be the only one that was actually doing her job, collecting the Gnosises, and she ended up dead because of it. All the other Harbingers seem to kind of have like their own like motives, right? I don't really think they really give a shit about the Signora's plan. I think Signora was basically the only Harbinger that actually cared. Tartaglia Child seems to be the close second, but his battle mania kind of impedes on his missions. He only really showed up to Fontaine because he wanted a vacation, right? He wasn't really there to take the Gnosis, which is kind of weird. Anyways, I feel like, you know, if they wanted to kill off Signora, I think they should have had her more on screen a little bit more often, I think. Maybe give her like 2 mini boss battles before her major boss battle and then kill her off, because I just feel like they just killed her off too suddenly. It just felt too rushed. The game never really tells you about Signora's past. You basically have to go through the world, explore the world in order to really find out. I think it would have been cool if Signora interacted with the Tsaritsa, but since she died in Inazuma, we'll probably never ever even see that. And to add the insult to injury, they didn't even make her playable. Some people say that they didn't make her playable because her outfit was too jarring and it would fuck up like the overworld exploration, but they could have easily just redesigned it if they wanted to. They redesigned Scaramouche, and I don't think he even needed the redesign, but they could have redesigned Signora if her outfit was too much cluttery. Some people even say that, oh, you know, Signora was too evil, she kicked Venti and shit, and you know, so was Scaramouche. Scaramouche was evil too. Both Scaramouche and Signora both had the same arrogant personality, and Scaramouche ended up becoming the playable character. The fact that they killed off Signora but made Scaramouche playable kind of tells me that the main writer might have a little bias. There is a cope theory out there that states that Signora will be revived in Natlan, and you know, that could be a possibility. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I'm not saying it won't happen either. But I mean, if they ever did revive Signora in Natlan, that's probably because they fired the main writer that killed her off in the first place. Not to mention the Fatui trailer basically was Signora's funeral, so that basically puts the nail in the coffin that Signora is basically dead. HoYoverse basically told us that she is dead, but I don't know, they could revive her in Natlan for all I know. Waifus do make a shit ton of money. Just look at the sales of Farina. She basically BTFO'd every male banner that was going on for 1 year. The next major death I'm going to be talking about in the HoYoverse series is Cocolia's death in Honkai Star Rail. Cocolia's death was really shit. I did not like how they just killed her off. They killed her off pretty too early. I get that she was like evil and shit, but I don't know why the fuck they decided to kill off Cocolia. I don't think she dies in Honkai Impact, but she was just as evil there. But I mean, did they really need to kill her off in Star Rail? She kind of did like had her redemption towards her death, right? She basically sacrifices herself. They could have, I don't know, revived her somehow or some shit. They bothered to make Welt and auto playable in Honkai Star Rail, but they did not make Cocolia playable. I'm sure that there are quite a bit Honkai Impact fans that wanted Cocolia to be playable, but the fact that they killed her off in Chapter 1, HoYoverse basically said, nah, she will not be playable. They made Welt and Otto playable, so there's some bias towards those characters. Otto in Honkai Impact was just an asshole, but in Star Rail they kind of made him like this polite gentleman guy. Anyways, another major death in Star Rail was Ting Yun. Ting Yun's death was kind of shit because it happens off screen. We never got to meet the real Ting Yun, and the one that we met was basically an imposter. Since Ting Yun is dead, we'll never ever see her in the story, right? We could have had an event that featured her in it, but since she's fucking dead, we'll never see her. On the bright side, at least Ting Yun is playable, but still, like, you know, they killed her off and now we'll never see her in events, ever. If they were gonna kill off Ting Yun anyways, they could have at least had her on screen impacting the story, but she basically dies off screen. Like, what the fuck? What they should have done instead is the team could have confronted Phantilia, have Phantilia's third phase be the second phase and have her second phase be the first phase, and have the third phase instead having Phantilia possess Ting Yun. The Astral Express team is in conflict because they have to defeat Phantilia, but they don't want to hurt Ting Yun either, and Ting Yun controls her body for like a few seconds and basically tells the Astral Express team to finish her off or China Planet will die. The Astral Express defeats Phantilia, however Ting Yun dies on the process. Phantilia survives and basically mocks the Astral Express team. And there you go. We got a good villain, and we also got a sad death in the process. There you go. I think that's a better death than just having Ting Yun die off screen. The last major death I'm going to talk about in between these two games, the last one happening in Genshin Impact, is Focalore's. Focalore's death was kind of unexpected. She kind of just shows up like at the last minute, and her mortal form, Furina, is playable at least. It's just weird that all these major deaths in these two games has all been hot waifus. Will there ever be like a major male character dying in these games? I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. And I'm not saying that I want to see more deaths in these games. It's just weird to see that all of the major deaths has just been waifus. The writer for these stories might actually be favoring male characters. They made Scaramouche playable even though he's as evil and arrogant as Signora. In the Fontaine Archon quest, they basically jerked off Neuvillette. Nouvillette's basically the Gary Stew. He one-shots Child, he stops the Primordial Sea with his hand in the Fortress of Meripede, and by the very end of the Fontaine Archon quest, he gets even a bigger power boost. Did Neuvillette even need it? He was already strong as fuck anyways. There might be a writer in the HoYoverse team that really just hates hot chicks. Some CN players think so too. I think they were so angry about Scaramouche's story quest, they ended up doxing one of the HoYoverse employees that wrote Scaramouche's story, and I think it's like a dude pretending to be a chick or something. I don't know. Translating CN is kind of weird. I'm not trying to cause any shit or try to boycott any of these games. I just find it weird that all the major deaths have been hot chicks. And don't get me wrong, there are members of the HoYoverse team that do know what they're doing, and with certain female characters we do get like different angles of their different assets. I just find it peculiar that the major deaths in these games have all been hot waifus. That's it. That's gonna be the end of this video. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree, disagree? Am I crazy? Let me know in the comments. If you like the content, just leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.
Bye bye now. Come again soon. Thank you.